Hello and welcome back to Mind, Mood and Food. Today's episode is self-sabotage. Is it really just a negative thing? So poor Margaret is with us with a little bit of a sore eye. So if you are watching on the YouTube visual, then you might be getting a few cheeky winks off Margaret. But yeah, she's got a little bit of an irritated eye. So bear
Yeah,
with her. Margaret, I hope you're well enough to do this episode today.
I am. I can actually, I can see my notes, which is a good thing. But
Yeah, just a bit sore.
yeah, it's not hay fever or anything like that because it's just in the one eye. But blimey heck, when your eyes get sore, it
I
just makes it
know. And
worse.
you can, I think I only see it because you pointed it out, but yeah, it's a little bit inflamed.
Yeah, yeah.
Less.
Thank you. But I started looking into obviously self-sabotage itself has been around for quite a few years, and depending on what your views are on this, it can be seen as quite a negative thing. But I like to kind of think of, well, yes, there is negative connotations there, but what is the big message behind this self-sabotage? What is it actually trying to tell you?
Mm.
And then on the other hand, and this is something that actually just came up for me about, God, a couple of days ago. Is self-sabotage even a thing at all?
Mm.
Is it just a word that's used to keep us down? And when I say this, there used to be something called bike face.
Bike face.
Bike face. And
You're on your
only,
back.
yeah, exactly,
Really?
exactly. Only women could get this bike face. And it came around, I'll do this some because obviously there's quite a lot to cover in this one. It came around when bikes only just recently came out, when they actually were balanced at the same size actual wheels rather than the silly blooming penny farthing
Oh
things.
yeah.
Um, Women's fashion started to change, and women actually getting out and about means that there were a lot more suffragettes in the
Hmm.
world, and we could actually start having our own opinions heard. This is when bike face came about, specifically so women were put off riding their bikes, so they were put back in their place.
Mm.
Now, there's very much now this thinking that is self sabotage the same kind of thing, the original concept of self sabotage. That is it, the likes of bike face, specifically there to put women back in their place. So, whether or not that's something that you think of this, I'll leave that entirely up to you. But just planting the seed there was self sabotage, something that was put there literally. So we're not feeling so much empowered, so we're not feeling that much forthright and focused. Is it something that has been put there? So it is putting us back into that negative state of mind that we're not moving forward.
Which could be just handed down through our genes, like genetics. You know, there is such a lot. I always think it's fascinating that we don't have a problem knowing and accepting that the color of our eyes or our height is genetics and DNA, but actual parts of our personality or how we behave, obviously you've got nature and nurture reinforcing that. Surely that's going to be handed down as well, you know. So if that was obviously women have got a lot of that being kept down that has come through our genetics.
That's one thing to really think of. Is it just a new bike face? But as well, does self sabotage actually have benefits to it? Like, for instance, when you're experiencing self-sabotage, what are the actual emotions behind that that really need to be expressed, be served, and just to give those emotions the room that they need.
Mm.
And is it just a kind of perpetual cycle? Is what I see. Bikes are getting in all the way today.
Cycles, yeah.
Does it feel like that perpetual cycle all the time? How are you actually getting there? What is leading to that cycle?
Mm.
What is the big lesson that you actually need to know?
Yeah, because this is the whole thing, again, coming back to yoga and our samskaras, which is our habits and patterns. If this is a pattern for you, it will keep coming around and replaying and showing itself until you learn from it. So exactly as you say, unless you're willing to look at it and be like, look, every time I try and, change my eating habits to feel better energetically, or every time I try and do something new or, move myself forward in any way, I keep getting in the way. And what is going on? What is underneath that?
Yeah, that's the whole point I'm making is that we see self-sabotage as such a negative thing,
Hmm.
but it does have positive connotations, that it is getting you to look deeper into yourself and not just blame this sabotage and habit that keeps on coming around.
Yeah,
Let's
not
really
just
start looking
saying, oh,
into
that's
it.
just me, that's what I do. Because, we've all got we've all got places in our life that we need to grow and learn from.
Yeah. And then when you can go deeper into it, is it a case that you're actually afraid of what might happen? Are you afraid of your own power?
Mm.
Are you afraid that those changes will be positive? How do you deal with those changes that, say, for instance, those eating habits do change? That's very much now that your personality is going to be changed a bit as well. How can you then start dealing with that? So, a lot of the time when we're dealing with self sabotage, it is that fear if something goes right, I'm going to have to change.
And it's a very real and quite common thing, I think, for people to be afraid of their own success, but not recognize that, so this might be creating some light bulb moments for people, I would imagine, in terms of, hmm, that could be underneath. But maybe they don't know how to explore that. So one of the things I would recommend is journaling. I don't know if you've got other ideas and tips, if people are thinking, oh, I just don't know. I don't know, like how do I discover what lies beneath in the murky depths of my subconscious?
Definitely journaling and just as well. I think, as we just mentioned on the podcast before, is understanding, getting to understand those actual emotions, what is
Mm,
actually going on. Yes, you can say, I feel angry, for instance. Is it particular anger or is it more sadness? A lot of the times when there is an underlying emotion behind that, get to know what that emotion means. Where does it actually come from? Because a lot of the time when I'm dealing with self sabotage, it can actually be someone else's power, success, or influence that is making that person feel uncomfortable and therefore wanting to reject any kind of success themselves, if that kind of makes sense at all. It can be someone else's influence that is really setting the tone for that self-sabotage. So it is very much journaling, very much being able just to sit there and understand those emotions and yes, feel them, but then being able to not let that emotion take over.
Yeah, and I think meditation is another tool that you could use for that. To be able to sit with an emotion and to feel it and let it move through your body with instead of pushing it down is really important and healthy, and it's it's a good skill to have. So again, another reason why a regular meditation practice will stand you in good stead, because you'll be used to sitting with the thoughts and the emotions that come up. So you could just sit and meditate
Mm,
on the topic of self-sabotage
yeah,
and just sit
absolutely.
for 10 minutes or something and just see what comes up for you. And that could be that you feel something in your body, could be that you just, feel it, place your hand on it, have a think about what it feels like. It could be that it feels like an emotion, like you say. So just playing with that. What is that emotion? Where does that come from? And then maybe journaling after that practice just to get it all out of your head and get it down. But you might be amazed at what comes up. Obviously, other than that, you can work with someone like Margaret or myself to act as a coach, and that can help things to come out that you didn't even know were in there.
Very much listening to that discomfort and just understanding and be able to let go of that discomfort and then reprioritize from there, really. So, absolutely understanding what the emotion is that's driving this self-sabotage and
Mm. It's very
that,
much about exploring what lies beneath this one, isn't it?
yeah,
Instead of just going,
absolutely.
oh, that's it. That's what I tend. Oh, I'm somebody that tends to do that. Well, why?
Yeah, we've
Even
all
just
got,
that tentative question can, really
yeah, because
lift that lid.
I don't think I've come across that many people that I work with that don't have that self-sabotage. There seems to be very much a pattern that people get successful to a point and then the self-sabotage actually hits.
And
And
it,
it
it
is,
must be different for every person. That's the thing, isn't it? This is very much about a self exploration, and working on it for yourself. But people could be afraid of success in terms of eating habits, because then they might it could be that your partner's afraid of you changing, because then you might go off and look amazing and go and attract a new partner or something. So then they could be saying things
yeah,
to
absolutely.
you that would then keep you from doing well, like go on, have another chocolate bar or have another biscuit. What's the harm that it could do? And they could be doing that. They could be sabotaging you, even though you're not aware of it. They might not even be aware of it consciously.
Yeah. It's very much starting to look at this with a conscious mind.
Hmm.
Self-sabotage a lot of the
Shining a
time
light on the murky
on
depths.
murky waters. Yeah, absolutely. Seeing what emotion is that's driving all this. And quite a lot of the time it is this inner child.
Mm,
I'd say God, nearly 100% of the time it is an inner child. So has your inner child actually been heard? Do
yeah.
you actually listen to that inner child and
Hmm.
understand
Yeah.
what it is that they're needing, that they're wanting? So it is very much a deep kind of practice to
Yeah.
understand what is going on
Because I've been
behind.
looking at this a lot lately. The inner child, we talk about it almost as if it's like a separate thing, but obviously everything's just part of you, part of
Yeah,
us. But that's a big, massive part. Like you say, nearly 100%, if not 100%, it's always got some impact, because of the whole science that between the ages of, well, we say 0 and 7, but it's minus something because it starts in the womb. But the influences that you have had around you at that time, the words that have been said, the actions, the implied meaning is so, so strong because that's where our coding comes from, that it can't not really impact most of the things that we try to do now. And so spending a little bit of time thinking about it, if something's not going how you want it to go, it's definitely worthwhile, I would say.
So hopefully that's given people, say, a little bit of an insight that there is definitely
Mm,
benefits to
absolutely.
self-sabotage. Not to see it as being weak or
Yeah.
failing, but to just start opening those channels of thought that what is going on here? Why is
Mm,
the cycle going around? What am I afraid of that could happen? What am I afraid of that might not happen? What am I not listening to that my inner child saying?
yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely love that. Um, just that awareness. I always talk about awareness. It all starts with awareness. And if we've got that awareness, if people have got a little bit more awareness, having listened to today's episode, that self-sabotage and sabotaging, your progress in whatever it might be, it just means there's something there that just needs a little bit of exploring, but also time, listening, like you say, very much just saying I'm here and I'm listening was one of the most powerful meditations I ever did with um a lady called Sarah Blondin, that she's got the most beautiful voice. And this meditation that she did was just saying to your heart or saying to your inner child, I am here and I am listening. And I was like nearly in tears because it's just, you don't give that little part of you that's inside that is wounded or that has been hurt or that is struggling the time, because we've talked about it before, weren't we? We're busy,
Saying,
everyone's busy, bloody
busy.
hell. And people might say, I've not got time to do that. But if we've not got time for ourselves to do a little bit of practice every day, whatever that might look like, journaling, meditation, just the yoga term, svadhyaya, self-study, there's nothing more important than that. And so
And
hopefully this is just another thread that people can pull and see what unravels and what becomes of
absolutely,
it.
yeah. Just that having that ability to say, I see you,
Mm,
I can name you, and know what it is.
mm.
Very
And
powerful.
with love, with kindness, ahimsa, I love you, I hear you, I'm listening. What is it that you want me to know? What is it that you've not ever had a chance to express that, needs to be said? And I am now going to sit quietly and listen to what needs to come out. And you may be amazed at what comes out, and then you can, move forward, in business, in love, in life, in health, with a lot of things. So this self-sabotage covers like everything, doesn't it? So
There's
it's huge.
so much, absolutely massive.
Oh,
That'll just give you a little bit of a taste of today that it's not, it is there for a reason. And let's get rid of the bike
get rid of the back face and
face.
explore, have some fun exploring, be kind to yourself. And if you do need a little bit of extra help, then please do reach out to Margaret or myself. We would definitely be um, open to having a chat with you. Do drop a comment onto the podcast if you're able to, wherever you get your podcast from. You definitely can on YouTube. If you're logged in, you can just leave a comment. That would be lovely. Let us know if you've had some like aha moments during today's podcast. Do us a favor, stick some little emojis, some light bulbs, whatever you've got, throw them out there, little clapping ones. Let us know, even just with a couple of emojis, how you've enjoyed the podcast. Any questions, anything like that, we are here for you. Hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Thank you to Margaret. Bless Margaret with a poorly eye today. I hope that you get that sorted out ASAP. And we'll see you on the next one. Thank you, Margaret. Thanks everyone for listening.
See you later.
Bye for now.